What's up, guys? Hey, I want to guarantee you or show you a way by the end of this video that God will turn any failure you've had into a complete comeback and show you exactly how he's already proven it. I'll show you what I got here. This is what we call I don't know if you can see it or not. This is my old Shimano reel. Shimano. I got some buddies gave this to me back in 2000. Man, I can still smell all the bass I caught from it. I was a ceiling fan. I just popped. Anyway, it doesn't look like a ceiling fan out here. Let me tell you how God can turn your failure into a comeback. I think about things in your life. Me as a coach, I can remember when we were first starting out of school when I was at Fox Creek. We started, I think my record the first 4 years was 5-35. All right, 5 wins, 35 losses to build a team up. All right, then from there we were successful, but yet I felt like a failure. All right, I had to continue, commit, that compound effect we talk about. All right, going in and making those things work, not giving up. All right, let me tell you what God says in Luke 5:6. It says, when they had done so, they caught such a large number of fish that their nets began to break. I don't care what's going on in your life. God will work it out for you to where whatever you're doing, he will bring you in abundance to what you don't think is there now. In other words, whatever you're fishing for, it will come back so hard and so much that it breaks your nets. Let me ask you this. If you've ever felt discouraged with your life, all right, you are sitting with good company right here. All right, I have been discouraged more times, in 50 years, as much as you can be, especially when you have such high expectations of yourself. We all do. I think it's natural. All right. If you don't, you should. And I hope that mindset's starting to slowly change. All right. Maybe you're worn out. Maybe you're overworked. Maybe you've put your heart and soul into a new beginning. All right. And yet didn't see any fruit. All right. Just like when we going online with this digital ministry. Look, this started back in June. I started getting the stuff for this. Yes, it's slow, but it's slowly picking up. All right, God's word's reaching more people. And always, does God ever do this to you? For me, it's always been, if I feel God, he's starting to move in my life, or he's starting to answer a prayer, he's starting to do things, I'm like, okay, God, I know what direction you're going. Never. I'm never right on that. It don't work that way. He's always got something so much bigger. Just like with this ministry. We've got people who've been on a show that I've been able to talk to. Frank with addiction for September for Recovery Month. Chad and I are doing this Uncommon Men podcast, and we have friends reach out. He even said to me that his little boy, he said, hey, let's interview some young people. My son wants to be a part of this. I mean, come on, man. That's lives changing. That is God at work. So look, we're just a vessel. I was just a vessel. Thank you all for your support. I'm Russ Snyder, and started Uncommon Ministries a little while back this year. So I want to ask you, this is something that I started. At the beginning, I didn't see any fruit, but my long faith is my strong faith. Okay. I used to think that God had a purpose for me. All right. That's not true. God has no purpose for me. What are you saying, coach? No, he has purposes. All right. Purposes, not porpoise, purposes. I know we're talking about fishing. All right. He has purposes, and I have different purposes in different seasons. I was a coach at one time. I was a recovery minister at one time. Okay. Now I'm launching a digital ministry at this time. Hey, different purposes for different seasons. And God puts that in front of you. And we've all faced different setbacks in life. Right? But it's important. What happens next is truly the most important thing. What's the next thing that's going to happen? All right. God, we don't have a God that looks back on yesterday's. All right. What is next for you? All right. Just ask Simon, Peter, and Andrew about their setback they had in Luke 5. That's why we're talking about fishing. All right. The Bible tells us that two brothers have been out fishing all night. Okay. As these guys were professional fishermen. In other words, if they didn't catch fish, they didn't eat. They didn't get paid. They didn't make money. All right. And in Luke 5, it says they caught nothing. All right. Relating that to a challenging or a calling in our life, it's like spending months planning a new task. Okay. I'm thinking if we're in football season as a coach, every coach on TV today on college football prepared all year long for the day. And I think about the ones with the losses, not the wins, because I know the preparation that goes into that as a former coach. I know how hard it is to prepare for not just that, but something in your life you prepared for, you worked for, you may have gone to school for, you've been training for. All right. And it just doesn't work out. All right. And it feels like this new task or whatever you're doing now or what we've done before, this outreach has just reached nobody. Okay. As you can guess, these brothers in the boat they were discouraged and tired. They had fished for hours. But then Jesus comes along and does the impossible, uncommon thing, right? After borrowing their boat to teach, Jesus tells Simon and Peter this in Luke 5:4. He says, put out into deep water, right? And let the nets down for a catch. Simon and Peter's response, you see their frustration is set in. And I love this depiction, the way of the series, The Chosen. If you never watched it, God, please watch it. It's so good. Because this is the scene that comes to my mind. He says, Master, we've worked hard all night and haven't caught anything. Nothing. We've all hit this stage. We've all told God, hey, man, I haven't caught anything. All right. We've given something in our life its best shot. Everything you have and come up empty. All right. This is my prayer. I pray this all the time. Like, Lord, if close the door, I'm going on what I think is obedience. I'm not really sure. I've never heard a clear voice from God. All right. I'm like, God, if I'm reading this wrong, close the door. Man, he will. And Lord, if I'm reading it right, open the door. Man, he don't open the door. He breaks the nets. He breaks my nets. All right. We've done everything right and believe God has led us to what we're doing, but we have nothing to show for it. Then Jesus does a miracle. Jesus doesn't just meet these guys' needs, but he totally blows them away in the process. He does that daily in my life. He will do that daily in your life. The Bible says in Luke 5:6, when they had done so, they caught such a large number of fish that their nets began to break. All right. Not only do they catch enough fish for themselves, man, God gives them enough to share. All right. So whatever you're working on, you have faith, you keep leaning in to what God's doing. Not only is he going to give you what you got, he's going to give you enough to go around. All right. For your circle, for your surroundings, for your family. All right. After Simon and Peter and Andrew do what Jesus tells them to do, all right, they caught more fish in 10 minutes than they had caught in 10 previous hours. God turned their setback into a comeback. As I always say, my setback is my setup for my get up. All right. My setup for my get up is all my setback was. Always come back stronger. You guys who know me, man, I've fallen a bunch. Every time I'm going to get up harder. Every time I'm going to get up harder and harder than the one before. That needs to be what you wake up thinking. Wake up praying, Lord, help me get up. You're like a metal alert. I've fallen and I can't get up. Man, he'll get you up. All right. Your comeback may be just right around the corner too. Whatever your life setback is, whatever it was, hey, God can turn that faucet on quicker than it was turned off. All right. And then you might even need a bigger boat. You know what I'm saying? We're all in the same boat. Have a great night. God bless you. Praying for you and love you.